What's going on, everybody? K to the 2 here with TBU Season 5, Week 6. This week we are going up against the Miami Dolfinis. Normally, they are coached by the sinister Sableye, except he is no longer in the TBU, so Chaos is taking over. I'm looking to hopefully still win this game. I really don't like this matchup. Just gonna put that out there. Rotom Wash is a huge pain to my team, and even though I have a Seismitoad, it's going to be kind of rough going if I want to keep things healthy. If that is an offensive Rotom Wash. If you guys want to know exactly the team that I brought, make sure to check the description down below. There is going to be a poke paste down there, and that will have the team that I am bringing. Also, one thing I should mention before we head straight into this narration is the fact that we DC'd. Yes, this is another DC on my end. Luckily Chaos live recorded this, so we are getting the footage from his side. And so just keep in mind that everything that is happening, I am on the other side of this because of the DC. At least we still have footage. That makes me happy. The game was pretty much a wrap up. It was 5-4, I will say, at the time of the forfeit. And with careful deliberation and ruling, I was given a 4-0 victory with all the kills going out to where they should have been at the end of the game. So keep that in mind, that this game does end pretty abruptly with like 17 minutes to go. So keep that in mind when you're watching. Other than that, I really don't have much else to say. Let's just go ahead and hop right into the mons that I'm bringing. I'll go over them rather briefly. I'm bringing a speedy Seismitoad with rocks and knockoff. Rocks are there to wear down his team a little bit. Knockoff, of course, good for a Golbat, good for a Rotom. Especially good for Rotom if it is Choice Scarf. That would be huge. Now, the EVs on this, I don't have HP. Instead, I invested it straight into its defenses. I am running some ridiculous amount of defense, which helps me live Supersonic Sky Strike from Salamence without it being set up. And also from me being at full. And I can get off an Icy Wind. Icy Wind is there easily 2-hit KOing it. And if he decides to Dragon Dance up, I will always have something in the back that will outspeed the Salamence, which is nice because it'll get rid of the +1 speed that it just had. And the Spadef that's on it really helps with an offensive Rotom Wash. HP Grass would be its best move to hit me, and if it is that, then I can take a Hidden Power Grass from the Rotom, and I can knock it off, which is huge news. Huge news. I guess that works for the rest of my team, because then I don't really have to do anything else. Seismitoad has several jobs, but it is not meant to do any one of them. It's just kind of here to be a stopgap for any measure if things get out of hand, and keeping it healthy is kind of important, so I'm going to work on doing that this match. Next up, we have Mega Aerodactyl. Now, this is not any normal Mega Aerodactyl. This is a physically defensive Aerodactyl. Max HP, 220 defense Impish with enough speed to outspeed a Liepard. Now, he does have a Salazzle on his team that I could outspeed, but I'm not going to outspeed it. Luckily, he didn't bring it. And also, I didn't think he would be creeping my Mega Arrow, even if he did bring the Salazzle, so that's my reason behind that. I'm running Taunt to deal with Mega Audino. I'm running Edgequake as my coverage because I felt like that hit his team really well. And of course I'm running Roost. Now, Mega Arrow is my pretty much answer to Salamence, which is great. It can take any hit that it can go for besides like Devastating Drake, but I'm heavily expecting Supersonic Sky Strike to come against my team. I can take any hit that it wants to go for at +3, unless it's adamant, and then it's a roll with Dragon Claw in my favor and a 50-50 roll for Supersonic Sky Strike in order to kill me. So that's really nice. I wasn't expecting him to be adamant. More expecting to be Jolly because I do have the speed tiers that pretty much force it to be. So that's going to be that. Next up is going to be my Heatran, which he doesn't really deal with all too well. And if it does end up being, well, really any kind of Rotom locks in to a move, Heatran can deal with it because I am Sub-Protect Toxic. And if he's Hydro Pump, then he wastes a ton of Hydro Pump PP, and I can PP stall it out. And if it is a defensive one, then I kind of just sit there and also PP stall it out. It doesn't break my sub with Volt Switch, which is great. I'm running a lot of speed. The speed was in order to try and catch a Mamoswine that was potentially creeping a Decidueye. Same with Seismitoad, actually. Both of them were running the same speed. So it automatically outspeeds a Adamant Mamo, which is great. And then the rest is thrown into HP, and then max HP, and then the rest into special defense. So that's Heatran. The attacking move I have on it is Flamethrower, because Flamethrower Toxic hits everything on his team. And I can kind of just sit there if I have a sub up. Leftovers, of course, because I want to keep myself healthy. And that's Heatran. Next up, we have a Pasho Berry Landorus with Calm Mind, Earth Power Psychic, and Hidden Power Ice to hit the Silence. Pasho Berry, of course, it's there for the Rotom. I really, really did not want to deal with Rotom this game. Like, everything on this team bar Aerodactyl. And, well, really, everything on this team except for Aerodactyl can now deal with this Rotom in some way or another, which is great. And if I do have the Pasho Berry, I do a ton of damage to that Rotom. And that's going to really help out. Not really much else to say about it. I can't stay in against Mamoswine, but we'll get into my switch into that later in Slowking. And I outspeed everything else that isn't Scarfed. Pretty straightforward. Next up we have a mixed attacking Lucario, max special attack, a lot of speed, pretty much max speed, just creeping Rotom, and then the rest thrown into attack. So the only physical attack on this is E-Speed. I couldn't run Vacuum Wave because the things that I wanted to hit that were super fast were Salamence, of course, and a potential Scarf Rotom Wash, which I'd rather hit with E-Speed because it's a little bit stronger anyway. And then I'm running Dual Stab with Psychic, that way I can deal with Golbat. Dual Stab hits the rest of his team at least neutrally, which is great. Against Jirachi, I only don't 2-hit KO it if it's a bulky set, but if it is a bulky set, I deal with it better with other mons on my team. If it is a Scarf Jirachi, also, that's what Heatran is here for, because Heatran just comes in on Scarf Jirachi and doesn't care what it goes for, and like I kind of stall it out, the moves, just by being a Heatran and getting my leftovers back. So that's gonna be that. Lucario just does a ton of work. And finally we have physically defensive Slowking. I can switch into Life Orb, Mamoswine, EQ, and take 2 of those, unless he has Rocks up, in which case I'm gonna have to pivot around in some sort of way. So that's going to be enough for the thingamajigger thing. Let's hop right into the battle. Keep in mind that I am going to be on the opposite side, and that's going to be it. Lead matchup, I decided, hey, Toad, really good against everything on his team. It's something that doesn't have a great thing to do this match. Like, helps against the lead Mammo, it helps against lead whatever. So that's gonna be what I lead off with, helps against the Rotom, pretty much. I didn't want to let it get a bunch of shit going for it. So that's gonna be it. Let's hop right into the match. Alright, so here we are. Match. There we go. We're leading off with the Seismitoad like I suspected. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to switch hard into my Heatran. I didn't want Seismitoad taking any unnecessary damage. I didn't feel like knocking off this Jirachi was too worth it. If it was Scarfed, it had the possibility to go for a U-turn. I could knock something off then, but I didn't really feel like it. So I'm just going to go hard into my Mamoswine, and he could go into his his Mamoswine right away. Completely fine, because I do have the switch in my my Slowking. But as you're going to see, he actually is going to bring out the Rotom Wash, I believe is what he brings out in order to try and get himself some momentum going. However, because I did want to see what he wanted to go for, I'm going to go for the Protect. Now, this was kind of a risky play. Not really risky in the sense that this turn was risky, but like it could set up a potential series of plays that could go not in my favor. So I'm just gonna go for Protect. It was 100% my play to see if this is a choiced Rotom, to see if it comes back to bite me. So I'm just gonna go for the Protect, and he reveals the Toxic. So I know that this has something to hit Seismitoad on the switch, and I don't know whether or not it is Scarfed. However, if it is Scarfed, it's not going to stay in here and go for another Toxic against a Steel type. If it isn't Scarfed, I can get away with going into my Seismitoad here. So, like I said, part of my game plan was to waste as many Hydro Pumps as this Rotom can go for. That way he can't touch Heatran, and like Heatran just becomes setup fodder pretty much. So we get in Seismitoad for free. I just fire off a knockoff. It was my best play, 100%. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go straight back into my Heatran, I believe, because it can deal with Golbat pretty well. Getting the knockoff on the Violite was great. It would have been great if I could knock off the Rotom to see exactly what it is. I'm expecting it to be a little bit more of a defensive set now that I've seen both Toxic and Hydro Pump, and it was able to change up moves, so it's obviously not Choice Scarf. So that's like the biggest deal. So he's gonna go for Toxic. That was why I went into Heatran. I didn't want Seismitoad taking any unnecessary status, and I'm just gonna go for a substitute as he goes for a U-turn. We see that he's not Infiltrator, not really the biggest of deals anyway. Wouldn't have broke. It was not breaking a sub either way. So what I can do here now that I have a sub up is I can go straight for the Toxic, or I can go for the Protect, waste a Hydro Pump, and that's exactly what I do. So I'm going to get a little bit of leftovers back as well, so that's extra benefit to that. And I'm going to go for the Toxic here. I actually see that I outspeed this Rotom, so I know it's 100% defensive Rotom. So that's always good news. So right here, I kind of make a misplay. I go for another Protect, trying to get another free turn without him going for Hydro Pump. I should have gone straight for the sub. I had no reason not to go for sub here. Like, I would have been 25% health down if he went for Hydro Pump, as opposed to not behind a sub if he switches into anything else. And if he did switch into anything else, I get a free big hit off because it is Heatran. So he is going to switch out. He goes into his Mamoswine, and I do go for the Protect, which was kind of sad. I kind of just want to go into my Slowking 100% here. I didn't feel like there was any other play that I should make, so I'm going to do that. Heatran, of course, can't stay in against a Mamoswine, especially since I don't Oko this Mamoswine to punish it for going for Stealth Rocks. So I just make the easy switch out into my switch into this thing. He does get up rocks, which is a little bit unfortunate. However, Slowking getting in before those rocks is definitely going to be able to force out this Mamoswine, which is great. I have no reason not to go straight for the Scald here. It has a really good chance to, well, not kill it, but it has a good chance to do a ton of damage to it, and if it was Life Orb, it would have probably gone down, especially if I got the burn, then it definitely went down. But he brings in the Rotom, and I can tell by that damage it has some Spadef investment. I can't tell if it is 100% max Spadef. But right here, I'm going to make a prediction, and I'm going to predict him to go for Toxic, expecting me to either stay in, take a Volt Switch and slack it off, or go into Seismitoad to stop him from Volt Switching. Even if he did go for Volt Switch there, Heatran takes that pretty easily, and I would have been able to be just fine. So, again, because I do know that I'm faster than the Rotom, I do make the correct play this time, and I am going to be able to get up my sub. So he's going to go for the EQ. And it's going to break my sub, and he is Life Orb, which is great, and I'm going to go for the Flamethrower. Now, right here, pretty risky series of plays I'm going to make. I am going to try and force him to go for Ice Shard on my Lando as I go into it on the EQ. This is so I get another Life Orb hit on this Mamoswine, and also so I don't get 2-hit KO'd by the EQ on my Slowking after Stealth Rock. That is the main reason I'm doing it. It is the safest way that I can get into my Slowking without losing a Pokemon here. Of course, he could just predict that, and that would ruin all of my plans. However, I am fairly confident those are the two moves he's going for. Would be EQ into Ice Shard if I make this series of plays. And the only damage I take is from rocks, pretty much. So I do nail the Earthquake prediction correctly, and I know he has to go for Ice Shard here, or he risks losing his Mamoswine. So I am going to make the play out into my Slowking, of course. Which is going to work out, actually, because he is going to click the Ice Shard, so that works out fairly well in my favor. And I know at this point, Mamoswine dies to Psychic, so I can get off a little bit more damage against literally anything else on his team if I just go for Psychic. The only thing that I wouldn't would be Jirachi, which, like, you know, it's a Jirachi. What's the big deal? I can T-Wave that. That would be nice. So I'm going to go for Psychic. It does about a quarter. That's specially defensive Rotom, so that's good news. Maybe not great news, because Lucario is a special attacker this week, and it needs to be able to break through the Rotom, and with it being specially defensive, it makes it a little bit harder. However, this time I am going to make the switch out into my Seismitoad, predicting the Volt Switch, and that's exactly what happens. And we get in with Seismitoad basically for free. We're back up to full HP after leftovers and rocks. And I'm going to take this as an opportunity to set up my own rocks. I could go for knockoff again, however, I feel like rocks is just my better play. Getting rid of this thing's leftovers could be nice, but again, rocks, I want rocks. So right here, he is going to go for the Pain Split, and I felt like he had like one potential move here, and that's going for Toxic. So I'm going to make the switch out into my Heatran. Pretty risky to switch in a Rotom to a Heatran, and because I have been going into it on Toxics, he might predict that and go for Hydro Pump himself. I could stay in here and go for knockoff, however, I did not think that risking Seismitoad to get... Heatran almost gets Spoon Black. I live on 2 HP, so that was great. I didn't want Seismitoad to take unnecessary status that it didn't need to. So I'm just going to go for Protect. That's like my only play. I need to keep Heatran around. So spamming Protect and keeping it around is going to be what I do. So he's going to go into his Golbat instead of trying to kill me, which is great. I get off a free Protect. I'm going to go for Protect again because it didn't proc on the last turn because he switched. So I'm going to go for it, get back more leftovers. He's going to go for the Defog, so I blocked the Defog with my Protect, which really helped as well. It wastes another turn that he could potentially go for a move, so I'm going to go for Flamethrower here as he goes for Defog. So that's great. He gets rid of the rocks on my side, which were pretty kind of hindering. Not going to lie. So Heatran here is at 25%, just about. It was sitting at 50 HP. And I have like 198 or 199. I don't quite remember the exact number. I wasn't sure if I actually could have set up a sub there, so I didn't go for it. I went for Protect instead. So right here, the Salamence is in, and I just want to get off a Toxic. And the reason I'm doing this is because I can wear this thing down with Toxic to the point where E-Speed from Lucario will be able to pick it off, which would be great. Mainly because it doesn't really matter what this Mence wants to do, as long as I just spam protect with my Heatran, keep it around for an extra protect turn if I need to, and I do have physically defensive Aerodactyl in the back. Now right here, kind of a 50-50. I can go for protect, he can go for Dragon Dance, or he can attack. He decides to go for Dragon Dance as I protect. It was my best play. I would just want to keep Heatran healthy, and I wanted to get more leftovers on it. And I can live a +2 EQ with Seismitoad. I saw that, so that's going to be the play that I make right here. I can live, get an extra turn of toxic damage racking up on it, and then it's closer even to dying to E-Speed. Also, at this point, I'm realizing, something needs to come in, take a +3 hit from this Salamence, because it didn't have Intimidate. It is definitely Moxie. So I'm looking at calcs, and Mega Aerodactyl is a absolute beast. It can live a Supersonic Sky Strike if this thing is jolly at +3. It does 99.4% max with my physically defensive spread. So that's going to be what I go into here. I could have gone hard into that on the EQ, but I can't risk Arrow when it does 100% live a move. So that was my thought process. He gets First Blood. It's like 30 turns into the game, something like that. It'll pop up. Yeah, 29. So right here, he's probably thinking, well, I just pick up another kill and then I just go down to E-Speed. It's not that big of a deal. However, as he's going to see, he is going to go for a Z move after I go evolve. He's going to go for a Z move. That is Supersonic Sky Strike. I saw the animation. I was like, oh, thank God it's not any other Z move. So he's going to go for that. Take me down into the red. We live that. Easy. Rock Slide kills, and down goes Salamence. So Mega Arrow is here, and it's gonna be able to do some things. So now, he could go into Rotom. That would be a really good option. He also decides to go into Audino, seeing this as a potential chance to Heal Bell or Wish Pass into something. And I'm not going to let that happen. I have Taunt on this Arrow, and that's what I'm going for. I don't care if Arrow goes down, because Lucario looks really good against the remaining mons that he has. Jirachi, Rotom, which is around half, Mamoswine, which is about a quarter, this Audino, Mega Audino, which, as you're going to see, he didn't actually get his Mega Bracelet. He has regular Audino for the rest of this game. So he's not able to Mega, which is quite unfortunate for him. I am going to get the taunt play right, as he did go for Heal Bell. And then he has a Golbat and red HP. So Lucario looking really good against everything that he has left. I'm expecting that to be a Scarf Jirachi, of course. And if it has Fire Punch, it has a way to hit it, but I do have the Heatran sitting in the back, which can come in at any point against the Jirachi. So he is going to go for the Ice Beam as I go for Roost. And right here, again, I'm just going to go for Roost. I didn't see any other reason to go for any other move. So I'm going to go for Roost, as he does send in his Scarf Jirachi hard into Aerodactyl. So right here, I don't care if I take any damage. I'm just going to go straight for EQ. I believe that's what I go for. No, I go straight for the Roost, seeing what he wanted to go for. And he ended up going for the U-turn, which is kind of good because, like, you know, we don't take a lot of damage. I wanted to go for Roost in case he didn't flinch us, to see if that was the move he decided to lock into. But he decided to U-turn out, and we are in here with my Arrow. Now I'm just going to go for Taunt again. I don't want this thing potentially setting up, even though I showed Heal Bell. Well, I mean, I didn't want it getting up a Wish, and Wish passing around is the main thing. So I'm going to go for Taunt, and he goes straight back into his Jirachi. And this time I am just going to go for EQ. The same mindset, really. I don't care if this Arrow goes down. I kind of want it to go down against the Jirachi, so I have a free switch into Lucario or Heatran, as he's going to U-turn again. And I am going to go for EQ as he decides to go into Golbat, I believe. And he's going to take pretty much nothing. Actually, absolutely, literally zero it will take from this EQ. And we are going to kill it the following turn with a Rock Slide, and down goes Golbat pretty much. and then it's going to be 5-4. And we're getting to the point where the game decides to DC here in 3 minutes of match time. So we'll get to that when it gets to it. But Lucario does like pretty much sweep the rest of his team. Now right here, again, I'm just gonna go for EQ. I felt like I had no reason not to. Like if it goes for Iron Head, I pick up a kill with Lucario. Because I 2-hit KO'd this Jirachi and it fails to 2-hit KO me with Iron Head, and it can't flinch me. Actually, no, it can flinch me, but if it does, I get steadfast speed. So that's the thing. So he's going to U-turn again. This time he's gonna be forced out into Rotom because I'm only going for EQ against that Jirachi. In case I do break through a flinch. That would put it into range of Lucario, and that's 100% the way that I would win that game. So right here, I am going to go for the Rock Slide, get off a ton of damage, bring the Rotom into the red, and he's going to go for Volt Switch, and this is where we DC. Yep, right here. Yeah, let's talk about the rest of this game. If he went into Audino, or into Jirachi, or into anything really, I was going to let Arrow go down, and Lucario would have been able to sweep up the rest of the game. Chaos said it himself that I 100% won that game, and I was fine with making it, instead of, because I was up 5-4, Mega Arrow is going to go down regardless because of the way that I was playing it. We decided it being a 4-0 in my favor, with Lucario picking up the final 4 kills of the game. Unfortunately, you can't like see that actually happening. Lucario getting 4 rogue kills on the season, which is kind of unfortunate, but it puts it in the lead for the MVP race, which is great, sitting at 14-2 through the 5 games that I've brought it, through 6 games of TBU. So that's on pace to match Mega Charizard X's MVP season of last season that I won MVP with. So that's gonna be the match. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like on this video. Unfortunate again that it did DC. However, things happen, and that's gonna be it. Shout out to Chaos as well for lending me his footage, so I actually had some video for you guys. But that's gonna be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.